So my name is Jason Derbyshire. I'm with TradeLog Software, and today we're here for a TradeLog demonstration. So I think just about everyone, yes, everyone in our audience today has either never used TradeLog at all, or you've maybe just used the free trial version of the software. So our goal today is to give a little demonstration about how TradeLog works. We're not going to go through every step in using the software, but I want you to get an understanding of what TradeLog does, how it works, and why people use TradeLog, why traders use it in the first place. And also answer some of the questions that are frequently asked, some of the questions that you all have submitted in advance. And also, as we go along, go ahead and submit your questions. Already, some of you have submitted some questions, and that's great because we'll try to answer those either as we go through the presentation, or if it doesn't really fit in with what we already kind of have outlined, then we'll answer it at the end, so stick around. And as I just mentioned, I shot out a little chat message. If you do have to take off early, we understand. We are recording this, and I'll email a link to everyone as soon as the video is posted on YouTube. So if you want to come back and check out the video, or even if you just want to check it out later, again for reference, you're welcome to do that. So let's go ahead and get started. I just want to hit a few housekeeping items real quick. If this is the first time you've used Zoom Webinar, our webinar platform, there's a few things on the top left corner you should see of the display. You should see a little toolbar there. There's audio settings, so if you need to change any settings or check your volume levels, you can do that. The Q&A box is where you want to submit any questions that you have. Just type those in and send those, and we're going to answer most of those live. So instead of typing a response back to you, we have a smaller group for that very reason, so that way we can try to answer all of your questions. And then the chat feature we're not using, and we're not using the raise the hand feature either, so you don't have to worry about those. But if you do have any questions, submit those anytime, because that's really a big focus of what we want to do today. So my goal is to kind of give you an introduction to TradeLog, and we're going to answer some of the key questions, the who, what, how, why, which. So we want to kind of talk about who uses TradeLog, what the software does, how it works, why use it, and then one question that's often asked is which version of the software do I need to get? So we're going to answer that as well. So let me just start at the top with who uses TradeLog. And basically, TradeLog is a software program designed specifically for active traders, but investors as well. TradeLog was developed initially by active traders for the whole purpose of serving the needs of active traders and keeping a log of trades. And when it comes to what TradeLog does, just as the name implies, that was the original focus of the software, was to log trade history. And what we realized very early on in the late 90s when the software was being developed, first of all, it was being developed to log trade history, which could then be used to analyze and see performance and reports like that. But then we realized there's such a need for tax reporting. And so TradeLog quickly evolved into a tax software for traders. So not only does it log that trade history, but very importantly, it creates accurate IRS-ready tax reporting for active traders and investors. We'll talk in a few minutes about kind of what some of that reporting is that TradeLog is going to generate for you. So how TradeLog works, basically by getting the actual trade history, what we're able to do is generate reporting for multiple brokers, multiple accounts, and we're able to create IRS-ready reporting because we've got the actual trade history. We don't use, a broker's adjusted reporting. We're using the raw data, what you traded. And I'm going to show you a little bit about some of the features of that here, and I open up the software. Let's see here. Yes. All right, so this is TradeLog Software, and what I want to do is I'm going to actually close out of this. And so when you first open TradeLog Software, if you've already downloaded the free trial and used it, you've probably seen this. You come to the welcome screen, and we have some resources, our user guide, our online resources that you can get to right from here. And you can also create a new file, open an existing file. Now I'm going to just go ahead and skip and show you a file that's already open for the sake of time, and that way I can show you some of the key information. So I have a demonstration file, and this is not my trading. I put that caveat because you'll see why later. But this is an actual trader's accounts that we have in here. And when we open up TradeLog, what you see is the trade history in here. We have this broken up by accounts, so you can have multiple accounts within your TradeLog file. Basically, you're going to have one tax file which covers that tax entity for that tax year. So this is for 2016 tax year. And so this would have, if this was my TradeLog file, it would have all the accounts that I trade in and that would be filed under my tax return. If you have a spouse and you're filing jointly, it would be both of your accounts in that TradeLog file. So in this example, we see there's two account tabs. One is with Fidelity, the other is with Interactive Brokers. You can name these account tabs whatever you want to name it. Some people put their account numbers, whatever. You can put anything in there to keep track of it, and there's no limit on the number of accounts you can have in here. In fact, it's very important to put all of your accounts that are being filed under the same tax return for the purpose of reporting. And at any time, you can click on the All Accounts tab, and that's going to let you view all of your trade history across your accounts. Now, one of the great features with TradeLog, and if you do have multiple brokerage accounts, you're going to know what I'm talking about. Different brokers have different formats for reports, different names for reports. So sometimes it can be challenging to, if you have multiple brokerage accounts especially, to see a complete picture of your trading performance because each broker is a little bit different. What TradeLog does is when we import trade history, we put it in a standardized format for use in TradeLog. So what you see is these groupings alternating in white and green shading. We group together trades based on ticker and basically a group of trades. So for example, at the very top here, we see ticker CPLP. So we've got some positions, we've got the different dates. You'll see the open and close column, O or C. So we have an open position and we have a closed position. So in a typical long trade, a buy would be an open position and a sell would be a closed position. And of course, that's the opposite with a short. The open for a short trade would be a sell and the close would be a buy. So that's basically how you see that being reported. You have O or C for open or close and then long or short. And then we have the ticker. So we're grouping this together. We have the number of shares that are purchased. We've got the price per share. We've got the type of instrument it is. We've got the commissions that were associated with that trade. And we've got the extended amounts. And then when we do have closed positions, we generate profit and loss. So you can see, how you're doing right here in the main grid in TradeLog. And then there's some other columns as well. You can put in notes, and there's different columns that are used for different extended purposes. So we can view all of our trade history for all of our accounts, and they're going to look in the same format because that's something very key with TradeLog. Now, one of the questions that comes up is regarding importing from brokers and supported brokers. So I want to go ahead and show that to you right now. We support over 30 different brokers. Let me pull up our website. If you want to know if your broker is supported, if you haven't yet checked that out, go to our website, TradeLogSoftware.com. Under the support menu, click on supported brokers. And here under supported brokers, we have a list of all the brokers that we support, and we've got some key information. So you see this list of most of the common brokers we support, and then you have import type, and each broker is a little bit different depending on how they provide trade history. Some of them we have what we call Broker Connect. That's BC represents that here. Broker Connect allows you to really easily import your trade history from your broker. Basically, TradeLog will connect directly with your brokerage account. You're telling us what the account number and such, and we're connecting, and the broker's passing us the trade history information that we need. Also, some brokers that don't support Broker Connect, you can download a CSV file of the trade history and you import in that TradeLog. TradeLog reads it. We've got web import methods where basically you go to the website and we get the information off of that. So there's different formats for each broker, and brokers are different. Some report time of day, some of them don't report timestamps on trades, short sales, options, futures. Now, one of the questions that has come up is about futures trading. And when it comes to futures, one thing to check if you are a heavy futures trader is to see if we support your broker. With futures trades, some brokers, they support futures trading, but the history that they provide, their reporting isn't very good. And if they can't provide us all the information that's needed, we can't import that into TradeLog. So some of them just don't have quite the best reporting. So that's why we usually don't support futures. So check that out if you are a futures trader, and make sure that we actually support your broker. Same goes with currency futures and Forex too. Forex is very, very limited, and we don't have, a lot of times traders in Forex and such, they don't necessarily need TradeLog as far as the reporting, so it's not as heavily supported either. For all of these brokers, you can click right on the broker's name. So I can click on Ameritrade, and it'll take you to our online user guide, and you can see the instructions, the detailed step-by-step instructions for importing. So if you want to check that out, you can see exactly what's involved. When it comes time to import your trade history, you're going to want to make sure and follow these instructions, especially the first times, so that you can be successful in importing that information. Once the trade history is imported into TradeLog, it's actually being stored in the TradeLog tax file, which is saved on your computer. So that's another feature of why people like to use TradeLog, because the data, you have it, it's secure. So if you close that brokerage account or whatever later, you can always go back into TradeLog and you've got that trade history in there. So that's a great feature. And of course, as I mentioned, it's for all of your brokerage accounts that you're able to get that. So once we've imported that trade history, TradeLog has the data formatted and matches up those trades. Now you're able to use that trade history to generate the various reporting that you need, whether it be tax reporting or performance reporting. And those are the two key aspects of what TradeLog does and why people use TradeLog: to generate consistent reporting that's accurate, and to do it across all of your brokerage accounts, and to do it in a way that you can maintain your own reporting. So let me show you a few examples of TradeLog reports that people use that are the most popular and the key features of TradeLog. First of all, I'm looking at one of the questions, make sure I covered that correctly here. First of all, I want to talk about tax reporting. And if I go up here to reports, I'm going to click on all accounts because I want to run this for all of my accounts. We have some tax analysis reports, particularly with wash sales. So if you are using cash basis accounting, you have to adjust for wash sales when you report to the IRS. So TradeLog has reporting that really shows you the details of wash sales and how they're affecting your account. And also we have a report called the potential wash sales report. This is a tool that helps you throughout the year to avoid potentially negative wash sale situations. Now, if you're kind of new to the wash sale subject, I know someone in their question they submitted, they said they're scared of wash sales, and they can be kind of scary. It can be a little overwhelming sometimes understanding the wash sale rule. And we've got some great resources I'll show you later that you can learn more. And we've got some whole webinar series that we talk about understanding wash sales, how they affect you as an active trader, and not being overly panicked, overly concerned. As I tell active traders especially, don't focus so much about wash sales. You need to be aware of them, but don't make wash sales the guiding factor in your trading. Just be a profitable trader. But what TradeLog can help you do is see there's certain situations, particularly at the end of the year, like during December and January, where you really should give a little more attention to wash sales because that's when they can especially affect you. And then also there's situations that involve IRA accounts, non-taxable accounts, that wash sales can affect you in as well. Now in TradeLog, when you import your trade history, we encourage you to put in all of your brokerage accounts, including your non-taxable accounts, your IRAs. And some people say, well, why do I need to do that? Because it's not being reported on my taxes. Well, two reasons. Number one, you can still use TradeLog to view your performance reporting on those non-taxable accounts, especially if you're trading in a non-taxable account. You want to see how you're doing and improve your performance. So TradeLog is going to let you do that. Number two, even though you don't file taxes on that IRA, that non-taxable account, it does affect your taxable accounts. There's some specific rules for wash sales in an IRA that affect traders who trade the same or similar securities. So if you're trading I'm just going to pick on Apple. If you're trading shares of Apple, both in your taxable account and in an IRA account, you potentially could be affected by the IRA wash sale rule. Or if you're trading options of Apple, maybe in your taxable account, and then your non-taxable account, you're trading shares of stock for Apple, again, the wash sale rule can apply to that. And it's a really nasty wash sale rule because it can permanently disallow losses. So TradeLog is able to, number one, account for that, but most importantly, and it's one of the things I really love in our potential wash sales report. I'm going to run that real quick so you see what it looks like. In the potential wash sale report here, I'll keep it blown up. We show you wash sales attached to open positions, losses that may be disallowed if you open a new trade. So those two sections are important in December and January of each year. But then section 3 is wash sales lost to IRA accounts. And this is important because what can happen is if you have a loss in your taxable account and you open a trade in the same underlying security within 30 days in an IRA account, you could possibly disallow your loss permanently. So what TradeLog does is it'll detect if you've had that happen, and it'll alert you to it in this report. And there's actually strategies you can do to reverse that situation, but you have a short period of time. You've got that 30-day window that you have to do that. So that's what this section is. And I know someone had asked a question about explaining this, so that's why I'm spending a little more time. And what you can do is click for additional information, and that's going to open up our online user guide, and we actually give you a couple of scenarios and how to use this particular report. So check that out, and you can see how to use that section of the report to really help you avoid any potentially nasty IRA wash sale situations. So that's the tax analysis reports. The actual tax reports for whether you're set up as an individual, you're reporting individually, Form 1040, or if you're set up as an entity, you have an EIN number, so you're filing 1065, 1120, or 1041 IRS forms. We detect that based on when you set up your TradeLog tax file, and we have the available reports. Most popular is Form 8949 because that's what most of us have to file for our tax reporting along with Schedule D. So TradeLog generates the 8949, and it generates that with wash sale rules for you as a taxpayer. And I'll explain in a moment what that involves. We also have a gain and loss report, which can be used for filing your state Schedule D reporting if your state requires that. We have reports for your Section 1256 contracts if you trade things like futures, futures, and some foreign currencies and stuff that might apply under Section 1256. That report is used. If you're in Forex and currencies, we've got a reporting for that as well. Now, if any of you, and I'm not sure based on the questions, I don't think so, but if any of you have elected Section 475F and you have trader status with the IRS, so you've elected mark-to-market accounting, then you can use the MTM accounting reports to basically provide that reporting, as well as make those adjustments that you need for the IRS. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then it probably doesn't apply to you. But just because you are a trader or you're maybe an active trader doesn't mean you have trader status with the IRS. This is something you actually have to make an election for, and you change your accounting method, and it's not something you can choose to do depending on the year or your mood. It's actually a little more formal process, and I'll show you where you can get more information on that too if it is something you're interested in, because it can be very beneficial for active traders. So those are the reports we do there. And we also have trade analysis reports, which you can use throughout the year to really understand your trading and to hopefully help you make better decisions as a trader. And so I'm going to show you some of those reports in a moment as well. But let's first go to the 8949, most popular tax report TradeLog generates. And since we are in tax season right now, I'd venture to say that's why many of you are looking at TradeLog. You're trying to find a solution to provide accurate tax reporting. So this is our Form 8949. I'm going to run the report. Right now, I haven't ended the tax year, so this is going to show with a draft watermark. Basically, that's to protect me from filing this before I'm finished. There is a process you use in TradeLog to basically make sure that you file, you get all your reporting correct. And once you've closed or ended the tax year, it locks it up so that you can't mess anything up, and then you're able to generate your finalized reporting. If you're using the free trial version of the software, you can't run the in-tax year function. You can't generate final reporting, because obviously we want you to buy the software to do that. But you can do everything up to that point if you're using the free trial. So I know that was a question that was asked as well. So this is the 8949 that we generate. You notice it is formatted just like the IRS form. So you could print this and mail it into the IRS if that's how you file your taxes. You can also generate a PDF, which you can use with most popular e-file options now. Or you can send that PDF if you're using a CPA or a tax preparer, and they can use that as well. Now, one of the things that's great with TradeLog, again, this is generated for all of your taxable accounts. And it makes all the wash sale adjustments you need to do. Everything is all in one package. So you're not having to like create all of these different forms and generate them. Now, in this demo account, it is a 330-page long 8949 because it's got to list all of those details. But at the end, we include 2 pages here that are especially helpful when you're using TradeLog. First, you see this one with the red text at the top. It's not an actual IRS form. You don't send this into the IRS. But what this page does is it gives you the totals that you're going to put on your Schedule D. So you don't have to sort through and total up each section of the 8949. We've already done it for you. So you can just fill these in on your Schedule D and then attach the 8949. You're good to go. So that's what that report is. And then the very last page is a statement explaining 8949 differences and adjustments. And this is optional. You can choose not to generate this. You can choose not to use it. But what is this form? Well, let me give you a little bit of information, and this ties into why traders and investors use TradeLog. Most of you, if you're trading, you're probably familiar with the 1099-B. Your broker is required to provide you a 1099-B that reports cost basis, sales proceeds, and limited wash sale reporting. Why do I say limited? Well, the rules that the IRS has given for brokers for 1099-B require them to report some wash sales, but they don't have to make all of the wash sale adjustments that are required by law. The reason is it's impossible for brokers to necessarily make all of those. For example, if you have more than one trading account, it might even be with the same broker. Say you've got 2 accounts with Schwab and you're trading in those 2 separate accounts. It's pretty challenging for them to adjust wash sales that may result between accounts, because the IRS isn't stupid. If you sell something at a loss in one account and you buy it back in your other account, they said, hey, that's a wash sale. You have to adjust for it on your tax reporting. But your broker doesn't have to do that, because that can just get hairy for them. Even more complicated is if you have separate accounts at different brokerage firms. Now it's really impossible, because if you think they're going to share information, it's not going to happen. So they can't make wash sale adjustments across accounts. Also, if you trade stocks and options, there are IRS rules that apply to options. Brokers were able to get out of making those wash sale adjustments because they're really complicated. So the IRS exempted them from those types of adjustments, but they didn't exempt the taxpayer. So you still have to make those adjustments. So if you trade stocks and options in the same underlying security, basically your 1099-B doesn't make all of those wash sale adjustments. But TradeLog does all of this. It makes all those wash sale adjustments across all your accounts between stocks and options. And as I mentioned earlier, even if you have a non-taxable IRA, there's wash sale adjustments that may have to be made, and we account for that as well. So now what's going to happen is you have your 1099-B, and one of you asked this question. You're worried about the differences between 1099-B and 8949. And yes, it's true. If you looked at your 1099-Bs, it may show that you had a certain amount of wash sales, gains and losses. What's interesting is most brokers do not total. They don't give you total taxable gains and losses on the 1099-B, because they know that they're just providing kind of a snapshot. It's your responsibility to get your actual totals. And if you read the fine print, they tell you that too. But there's sometimes a concern. Well, what if the IRS is comparing my 1099-B with the 8949 and they see a difference? And that may happen. They may see a difference. So what we did is we worked years ago with some leading CPAs in the trader tax industry And we developed this statement which explains why there may be differences and adjustments, and TradeLog automatically checks the boxes that that apply to your situation. So for example, in my tax situation with this file, I trade both stocks and options on the same underlying security. So that's been checked. I have multiple taxable accounts. That's been checked. If I had an IRA account and I had IRA wash sales, that would be checked. So we check those boxes automatically, so you don't have to try to figure it out. And what you can do is you can actually send this statement to the IRS along with your 8949. What that'll do is, let's say that the IRS computer happens to flag your file and say, hey, you know, the 1099 is different than the 8949. Well, the reviewer can now take a look and see this statement, and they see that you know what you're doing. You didn't make some big mistake, but you actually did your homework. You did the work of generating an accurate 8949, and that's probably going to help you avoid an audit. And I'm very happy, we're very proud, actually, to say that since 1999, since TradeLog first started doing tax reporting, we've never had a report of the IRS rejecting our tax reporting, our wash sale adjustments. Never had anyone report that. So if it's happened, nobody's told us, but we want to know, because we want to make any adjustments. But that's something we're very proud of generating accurate reporting that's been trusted, and not only by active traders, but by leading CPAs in the trader tax industry as well. So that's what this form does, is it kind of helps give you that protection. So it tells the IRS, you know what you're doing, and you did it right. And you can use all this with filing your tax return. So that's the number one reason why most people use TradeLog. Now, the other reason people use TradeLog, especially active traders, is for the performance reporting features, to really see how you're doing. In fact, as I told you earlier, that's why TradeLog came into existence. So let me show you one of those reports. The one I'm going to show you is the performance report. This measures different key metrics. It's been developed by with the input of different traders over the years. So it gives a snapshot. Now, this is for all of my accounts. You could run it for just one account. You could run it for a specific period of time. You can kind of really filter your data and see the reports. This is all of my accounts for the whole tax year of 2016. I see total sales, total cost. I've got the total amount of loss. And like, here's one that often like really startles people, is the total commissions. $47,000 I paid in commissions. Sometimes you don't realize that until you really step back and look. So sometimes, you know, you might look at that and say, wait a minute, this isn't working. I'm paying more commissions. I'm losing a lot of money. So you might need to make some adjustments. So these reports give you some metrics that you can use to measure that. Another really cool report that I like is in our chart reports. You can run all sorts of different charts. I'm going to run a day of week report showing profit or loss, because as you saw, this wasn't me. This trader lost a lot of money in the 2016 tax year. So when I run this day of week report, what it does is it takes a look at my data, and you notice how super fast these reports are. We've got a few traders that have up to 1 million trade records, and TradeLog has been able to handle that. So we can handle any volume of trading super fast. But notice this chart report shows what my trend is. And for this particular trader, it might be best if they just didn't do as much trading Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, because those are typically days they've lost money. It doesn't mean they always lose money, but when we take everything for the whole year and we look at those days, Monday and Friday were profitable. Tuesday through Thursday, not so profitable. Maybe this guy should take a few days off each week and just focus on Monday and Friday. Again, these are types of things that you can use to help you analyze your performance and make decisions. And there's a whole lot more you can do. We just don't even have the time to get into everything with that. So we are coming up on the 30-minute mark, but we'll go a little over, so if you can stick around. I know there's a few more questions that have been submitted that I do want to answer. One of the things I want to mention right away, TradeLog works for U.S. reporting, U.S. tax reporting, and it puts everything in U.S. dollars. So that's what it's designed to do. So someone had asked about like Canadian dollars. Can they use this for Canadian reporting? We don't convert to Canadian dollars. Everything's put into U.S. dollars with the software. So that is how it's been designed. Let me talk about for a minute which TradeLog version is for me. That's a question that's popped up. Then I'm going to go back to the software and answer a few more specific questions. On our website at TradeLogSoftware.com, if you go to the pricing menu and software subscription pricing, you'll see we have 4 levels of the software, 4 record levels. And this is based on the number of trade records in a tax file. So you have a 200, 600, and 1500 limited record versions, and then you have unlimited, which is unlimited. So in all of these, there's no limit on how many broker accounts, but for the entire tax file, so all of your broker accounts, if you buy a limited version, there is a limit in the number of trade records. Now, when we say trade record, what are we talking about? Well, typically, if you have a round trip trade, you have a buy and a sell. That would be 2 records. One is the buy or the open position, one is the sell, the closed position if it's a long trade. Now, if your broker reports that if they broke it and fulfilled it in multiple lots, then they may actually report more trades. It could be 3, 4 trades depending on how they filled and executed that order. So that's how trade records are counted in TradeLog. Basically, each line that you saw in the software is a trade record. So if you're not very active, there's the 200 record version, we have the 600 record, 1500, and then over that we just stop counting records and it's unlimited. And one of the tips that I have, if you're not sure, if you think, well, I think I fit maybe in the 600 record version, but I might be over 600, what I suggest doing is purchasing the lower level to start, and then you can upgrade at any time during the year to a higher level if you need it. So if you purchase TradeLog 600 and you're importing your trade history and you realize, oh, I have more than 600 trades, I'm going to max out. Well, then you can just upgrade and you pay the difference in cost, $60 difference, and we upgrade you to the next level of the software, and then you can keep on importing. So that's what I recommend. You know, if you're not sure, get the lower level and then you can upgrade, because it's a lot harder to downgrade. You have to actually contact us. We got to do all that. So it's easier to start lower. So that's explaining that. Now, another question we get asked is about a tax file. What is a tax file? Well, in TradeLog, you create a tax file for one specific tax year and for one taxpayer. So, for example, if you're just doing your tax reporting, your personal tax reporting, or as I mentioned, if you're married and you're filing jointly, then that is still one taxpayer because you're filing one tax report. So you'll need one tax file for that tax year, and you'll put all of your brokerage accounts in that tax file. The next year will be a separate tax file. Now, when you purchase a subscription of TradeLog, it works on a 1-year subscription. So the price you pay activates the software for 1 calendar year, and it includes all of the technical support, all of the updates, because we often have to make updates to support each of the brokers. All of that's included with the software, and you get one tax file. And usually for most of you, that's all you're going to need is one tax file. Now, say that you want to help out, maybe you got an uncle and you're helping with his tax reporting for his trading, you can purchase up to 5 additional tax files to use with your software, and that would be used for separate taxpayers. Or maybe you have your personal accounts, but you also have like an entity that you formed, you have an EIN number or something, well, then that's going to be a separate tax file because it is a separate taxpayer, and we got to separate that reporting. So if you need to buy an extra tax file, you can do that. There's $75 for each additional tax file. But like I said, most of you probably don't need that. You probably just need the one tax file. So if you're not sure, you can always contact us and we can clarify based on your situation. Now, at the end of your year, when you renew the software, we give you a 20% discount if you renew within 30 days of your expiration. So that's going to save you some money when it comes time to renew. And when you renew, you're going to get another tax file for the next year. So again, most of you never have to buy additional tax files. You're just going to use what's included with TradeLog, and you'll be good. Now, if any of you, and nobody mentioned this, but if any of you are like CPAs or financial advisors, you plan on using TradeLog for your clients, we do have a pro version of the software, which allows you to have unlimited number of tax files that you can add on to your subscription. It includes some extra features as a pro user. So we have the information on that. Just scroll down on our purchase page, the pro version, and you can contact us if you have any questions about the pro version of the software as well. So I wanted to answer that because I know that was a question that several of you had. Let me see here real quick. Okay, so let me get to a few of the specific questions that we had about the software. Thanks, y'all, for hanging in with me. We got some extra time, though. I'm not in a rush, so I want to answer your questions. And if you do have any more questions, go ahead and submit those, because we just got a few things, and then we're going to wrap up. One of the questions that was asked is about closing an option after it's been assigned. That's a really great question. But let me check something. I'm going to try to find a file real quick. Bear with me just one moment, and I'm going to pull up an example. I think I have one. Yeah. Of an option that has been assigned, exercised, and it needs to be exercised, and all those adjustments made, because there are some specific adjustments that need to be made in that case with, oops, made a mistake here. If you had that happen. So let me show you how TradeLog does that, because it is a really nice feature for options traders and very popular feature as well. Okay. Okay, I got one that's got an example here. Yeah, I think this will work to show you. So if you are importing, if you're trading options, you import your trade history from your broker. Yeah, let me pull this up. This is the same demo file, but this one hasn't been adjusted for that. So we're importing all of the stocks and option trades, and there's a feature in TradeLog two features that are great for options traders. If I go to the open trades window, this shows me all of my trades that are open. So two things that are going to happen. Number one, most brokers, when an option expires, they don't report the expiration leg of the trade, in essence, that closes out the trade at a zero value. And you need that in order to calculate your gain and loss. So it's okay, because TradeLog's able to do that for you. We have an expire options feature. So if I click on expire options, it asks the date, the as of date, and usually it picks the last date in the file, which is what you just want to keep it on, and you click OK. And what it does is it goes out and it finds any options that are shown as open but that are past their expiration date. So you notice this particular option expired March 19th, 2016. So we're way past March 19th. There was no closed position, so we're going to assume this is an expired option. So TradeLog creates the closing leg. The price is zero. It creates the profit and loss as a result of that expiration. So I can save that, click yes, and that's done. So now you see I don't have any other options that are open past their expiration. Now, the other feature that TradeLog offers is an exercise assign feature. So if I go to the edit menu, I can choose the exercise and assign. And this function is going to look for any options that appear to have been exercised or assigned. And here we returned, actually, it's the option that we just closed out at a zero. But what TradeLog's done is it's detected. It said, hey, here's an option for this stock. BIIB is the ticker. And the strike price was $425. We have 100 shares that were sold at $425. That seems to match up, is what TradeLog's doing. It detects that. And you have the option, you can sit and preview it and make sure, yeah, that looks correct. That was an assignment. So to exercise that position, all you have to do is in the bottom right, you can click the exercise button. And what TradeLog is going to do, you notice it makes the necessary adjustments. It goes ahead and adjusts the option so that you generate zero profit or loss. Basically, the option is just gone. It's not there anymore. But just as the IRS says, the option premium now needs to adjust the cost basis of the stock, and that's what we've done. We changed the price of the stock from $425 a share to $431.2424, which takes that $624 option premium and puts that into the cost basis of the stock, or in this case, the sale proceeds, because that's the leg of the trade that's being adjusted. So TradeLog makes that adjustment. It marks the option as exercised, so that won't be reported on your 8949. And in the matched column, we show that all of these trades were part of this exercise. So that helps later if you're going back and saying, why has this been adjusted? You can see, oh, these were all part of that exercise. So I'll just save my records, and now that's all been taken care of. So that's the function in TradeLog that allows you to really see how to close out that option and be able to have it reported properly as well. Now let's see here. What other questions do we have? I think I answered most all of the questions there. So just to kind of conclude and wrap up, if you need help with TradeLog right now, if you're using the free trial version, don't get frustrated too. Go ahead and take advantage of our support. You can go to our website, TradeLogSoftware.com /support. We have all our support resources, but also in the software, you can click on the Get Support button in the top right corner at any time. And what that will do is send a support request. It'll attach your TradeLog file with the data so we're able to see it, and we're able to really help you fix the problem. So that's the best way to get support. Submit a support request, and what we'll do is reply by email, or if we need to call you, because sometimes there are situations we just need to call and work out, but we'll do that. But that's the best way to get support if you have a TradeLog file. On our website, let me pull that up again. If you go to support and click on Start Here First, this has our software support center. So all of our information, we've got learning how to use TradeLog, our user guide, our supported brokers, tutorials, webinars, our blog. Maybe you're saying, I don't want to do this, I want to hire someone to do it. We do have fee-based accounting service providers, so professionals who can actually do all your reporting using TradeLog for you, and more. That we've got even CPAs who can give you full trader tax services. So all of that's accessible from our support center. And you can, of course, contact us and get technical support if you need to do that as well. So take advantage of that and really reach out to us if you have more questions or you need any help. We want to help you in understanding TradeLog and using TradeLog. And finally, I want to mention some of our other resources that we have available. Under resources, if you click on Trader Tax resources on our website, this is kind of the main index page of all of our Trader Tax resources. We've taken almost 2 decades of experience generating trader tax reporting, and we've put that here for you. We have our comprehensive guide to understanding 1099-B, wash sales, Form 8949, mark-to-market accounting, options, and other stuff. So we've got lots of information. There's videos you can watch. For example, I was talking about wash sales. Wash Sales 101 for active traders was it's one of our most popular webinar videos that we've got, and you can check that out. And we explain the wash sale rule and how that affects active traders. Just lots of information on here. So take advantage of that to learn. It's all free, but learn about how these issues affect you, and also see how TradeLog really provides the reporting you need. Also, if you go to our support, well, I'm going to show you the easiest way. If you go to TradeLogSoftware.com /webinars, it'll take you straight to our webinars page, and you can find any upcoming events. We're going to be posting some more later today, but also you have an archive of past webinar recordings. So for example, if you're looking at using TradeLog for 2016 tax reporting, we did a webinar just the other week, last week, I think it was last week, about how to use TradeLog for 2016 tax reporting. So you can check that out, and we go through the whole process from start to finish. So you can watch that at your own pace. We also have tutorial videos, lots of resources, so check those out and use them. And like I mentioned, if you have any questions, do contact us. You can give us a call too. Our 800 numbers listed on the top of our website. Right now is like the super busy time of year. Everyone's trying to do their tax reporting. So if you call us, you probably end up going to voicemail because we don't want you to be on hold for an hour, but just leave a message and we'll call you back as soon as we can. Or send us an email at support@TradeLogSoftware.com with any questions that you have about the software, and we'll be happy to answer that. One other question that popped up, because it is March 9th and the April 18th tax deadline is coming quick, the question is asked, will I have enough time to do all of this? One thing that a lot of TradeLog users have found successful, a lot of just traders found this successful, is to look at filing an extension, and that takes some of the burden off of you because you don't even get your 1099 from your broker until late February. Sometimes they're making adjustments, corrections even into March. So if you're under that time crunch, take a little pressure off. Maybe consider filing an extension. And statistics out there show, they say, this is what I hear, that if you file an extension, it also reduces your risk of being audited anyways from the IRS, because they know you're going to take more time. You're probably going to do things right. So if you have a CPA, they may have already said that file an extension will, get this done. But of course, don't put it off too late. We do want you to get using TradeLog and to get done. And we have over a month. So many TradeLog users are just getting started with preparing their tax reporting. One of the things we recommend is using TradeLog all year long. Once you get the software, you want to import best practices at least once a month. That's what I try to do. End of the month, I import all of my trade history for the month. I look at it with my broker statement, make sure everything looks right. And that way, when the tax year is over, when it comes to the end of the year, it's not as much work. Now I'm pretty much just ready to get my 1099 from my broker, reconcile that with TradeLog, and close out the tax year and do my report. So it's a whole lot easier if you do it that way. So that's just a little best practice tip, and we share some of that in our resources as well. Okay, so I think we answered all the questions. Thank you all so very much for joining us this afternoon. I hope this was helpful and I was able to answer your questions about TradeLog, and hopefully we'll be able to see you more at future events. As I mentioned, this is recorded. I'll send an email to everyone with the link as soon as I post it on YouTube. So thank you all very much and have a fantastic afternoon.